My name is Matt. What's your name? I can't hear you. Stop. So recently I went through a computer science degree, and it was a rather difficult degree. A lot of people struggled. I struggled some. But I have some tips here, and this time I'm organized, so don't worry. It's not going to be a rambly rampage. About 100 people know what I'm talking about, probably. Now, what I want to talk about here is what worked for me in this particular degree and my way of getting through it. But first, before we get into all that, I want to get all my advertisement crap out of the way so I don't have to think about it or do it later. First of all, if you like computer science stuff and you like programming and generally learning and, I don't know, just hanging out with cool people, or maybe just me, there's going to be other people on the channel. It's not only me, but it's mostly me because it's my channel. So consider subscribing, hit the bell if you want to see the new updates as they come along. You're going to get to see my progression because I'm just figuring this out every day. And hey, if you don't hit the bell, you might miss my epic blunders that I have to take down the next day. Yeah, first version of this. Alright, and also, if you really, really like this stuff, consider maybe hitting the little Patreon link down below and jumping on there too. And I do post some behind the scenes stuff, and we chat over there too. And if you don't want to do that, but you want to support some other way, there's other links down there. If you want to throw me some Bitcoin or whatever, you're welcome to do that. And I'm not saying you have to. I just feel like I have to say this, or people won't even ever, kind of thing. Anyway, there's also a Discord, which is completely free. Yeah, check all that out. Okay, let's get into the video. Bam! That's my transition. Part 1: Expectations and the difficulty.
Knowledge.
Computer science is one of the hardest degrees you can get. Sure, it's probably not as hard as astrophysics, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it is. It depends what school. But it is notably one of the harder degrees. So you're probably going to have some hard classes, and you're going to be expected to know things that are going to be a little beyond you at times. So you gotta kind of manage those expectations. And what I'm talking about here is, well, you're going to have to go through calculus. For me, I had to go through calculus 1 and 2. Calculus 3 was optional. If you got through calculus 3, if you wanted to take calculus 3 and got through it, you would essentially have a math minor, which is pretty cool. I didn't get that, but if you really love the stuff, you can get a math minor. But you at least got to get through calculus 2, and you have to pass those courses. I would advise at least nailing the basics of calculus down really well. Sure, they're not that important if you're going to be a web developer, or if you're just going to mainly design or stuff like that. But honestly, if that's your goal, computer science probably isn't for you, although it's not like it's a bad choice. Computer science really isn't a bad choice, no matter what you're doing, because you can apply this to so much. The world is increasingly more computerized, so this is all great stuff to know. So you also are going to be expected to get through linear algebra. Now, none of this is too bad if you've gone through pre-calculus or you felt like you were decent already at these topics. Calculus was pretty hard for me, but I really, really loved linear algebra because I love the 3D math stuff, so I really dove into that one. But at least get the basics down really well of these. So aside from those math classes, you are also going to have some STEM classes. You're probably either going to be taking biology, or chemistry, or physics, or some combination of those, and you're going to have labs. And, well, in my school, biology was pretty easy, but it was still a little bit time consuming. Chemistry was very hard, and physics was very hard. But physics could be really useful if you're going into like game development. You probably want to do physics. I didn't take physics, and I deeply regret that now. I took, I think, biology and chemistry, and I didn't really enjoy either of those. I think I would have enjoyed physics more, even though it's a little harder and takes a little more time. The payoff might be worth it if you like that sort of thing. And also, you're going to have some English classes, some writing classes, and some other electives that you have to do to fill out credits. Alright, so let's talk about these electives a little bit. Some of them are really easy. You can kind of nitpick through them and pick really easy ones that you won't have to spend a whole lot of time on. And that's sort of what I did. But also, since you get to choose, you can pick stuff that you're actually interested in. So it is a way to kind of expand and explore a little bit outside of the computer science realm. Because maybe you're really interested in computer science, But there's something in these electives, like psychology. That's what it was for me. I really liked psychology and sociology. So I got into those some, but I didn't get very deep in it. But it was enough to kind of explore. And you can apply some of your computer science stuff to it later if you want. If you just need a side project and you're doing something in a class, you can talk to your professor and say, hey, I'm a computer science major. What kind of programs can I write, or what kind of data can I exploit, or whatever, something to apply your computer science to these electives. And it's kind of a cool thing you can do. And I'll come back to that a little later because I have some more stuff I want to say, but I don't want to spend all day on this first part. Now, the CS courses, there's a lot of them. You're probably going to be taking 1 or 2 every semester. That is decently heavy in the coding, algorithms, and whatever else they're teaching. Usually they start you out with a couple courses on the language, then they get into algorithms, and then they get into more algorithms, and then you kind of get to pick some. Like we had the option of taking artificial intelligence, parallel computing, and there were some others that I can't even think of. Some of them are harder than others, and you won't necessarily know it, and often it depends on the teacher. Oh yeah, I guess I kind of forgot to mention. So yeah, just that's kind of what you're getting into. And if it's a pretty traditional school, it's going to be about 4 years. So you do have time to space it all out and learn it piece by piece. And we'll come back to some of that too. All right, let's move on to part 2 of this, and that is a plan of attack. Here is what I did pretty much every semester. Every new semester or every mid-semester. Every semester, what I would do is I would go look at what I needed to complete to finish the degree, and I would kind of map it out. I would say, okay, next semester I'm taking these courses, and that's that many credits, and the one after that I take those, and I kind of just like graphed it out like a programmer would, I guess. It was just like a tree of things to take every semester to graduate, and as long as I stuck to it, I would graduate on time. And that way I could kind of be prepared. I'd be looking at it and think, okay, next semester I'm taking these courses, so I should probably get a little head start, maybe do a little research on what's going to be in the course. So I kind of had that plan of attack going on, and I think that helped a ton because I was never really that surprised by what was thrown at me. And I have written down here, expect distractions. So you're going to have to make a choice about what's the most important thing to you. Like, you're going to have a lot of things you can do in school. You're going to have the option to go party with friends. You're going to have the option to go study with friends, or maybe you'll get a girlfriend or boyfriend or something like that. And there's going to be plenty of things to do that have nothing to do with studying, or maybe nothing to do with the studying that you want to do. So you have to make some decisions about where you want to be in the future. And that's kind of important, and it helps a lot. Because if you know what you want to do in the future, then when it comes time to make a decision about what you want to do in the moment, you can kind of have that in the back of your mind. And that always helped me, because sure, maybe I'd go hang out for a little bit, but after a while, everyone would want to go do something like, I don't know, let's go to a bar. And for me, I would think about it. I'm not a big bar guy, which, it's fine if you are. But after a drink or two, I'm just like, I don't really feel like doing this anymore. And, I've had my years of that. It's different, though, because, I wasn't as young as the other kids, and they wanted to experience that stuff. I already been through that. I had been in, like, bands, and I've been in bars so much that I was kind of tired of that life. So that was me. But you're going to have to find your own thing. It's going to be different for everybody. But in any case, there's always going to be some distractions. Maybe you're going to have a loud person in one of your groups that's, like, really hounding you about something that just isn't important to you, and you're going to have to figure that out and figure out how to not let it get to you and not let it basically waste your time. Because hey, if you want to study computer science and you want to do really well at learning whatever language it is and just really nailing these algorithms, that's going to take a lot of your time, and you're going to have to kind of like push other things to the back burner. And if you kind of already know you want to do that, you're going to have a much easier time explaining it in the moment to people that don't really get why you're, I don't know, maybe the way you are or something. I don't know. Because like for me, I had labs, like I had this biology lab, and it was, or I guess it was chemistry lab that I'm thinking of here. It was it was grueling. It was like 2 hours of just like, mixing stuff and doing experiments, filling out paper and rinse, repeat, and doing these labs. And they, like, by the end of it, I would feel like I was falling asleep. I would just be like, I'm so tired. I don't want to do this anymore. Mix the thing. Okay. Yeah. All right. Have a little reaction. Or you could spend a lot of time there, like really toying around with things and really learning the stuff even deeper and really understanding the reactions or whatever. And for me, it wasn't like that. I just kind of wung it and got through it because it was an aside for me, and it was kind of cool to experience. And sure, I did as well as I could in the moment. But when it came time to be like, oh, there's extra stuff you could stay and do, I was like, no, I gotta go work on my software. So see you later, kind of thing, Or if people after the lab were like, hey, let's go get lunch, and I knew that, dang, I really need to go study, I'd be like, I'd say something like, okay, but I can't stay for long or something, or I'll just get it to go, or I would have to make decisions like that. All right, and find a place where you can study, where no one's going to distract you. This is really important. This is probably the most important thing, to be honest, because I think it's just the way the human mind is. If we know we're going to be interrupted, if we know YouTube is available, we can't focus on the problems that are right there and need solved and that we want to solve, but there's something fun and easy to do where like nobody really knows you too well, or nobody's going to interrupt you, or maybe where you don't have internet and you only have your resources for your stuff. That was big for me. I would often go to like the top of the library, or there was a couple of floors, certain spots in the library, and I would just turn my phone off for like an hour or two, and I would turn the internet off on my computer, or sometimes I would turn it on and download like the PDF or resources I need, and then I would turn it off and only work on the thing I was working on. Or I would download the music I wanted to listen to, and then I would turn the internet off. And for me, obviously I'm on YouTube, and I've always watched YouTube. I've always tried to find tutorials. In fact, that's why I started this channel, is because I couldn't find the tutorials for the stuff I was looking for, so I decided I was going to make them myself, and here we are now. So hopefully this helps. So find that little place you can go and really actually get some thinking and work done, and don't overdo it. Just stay there for an hour or two. See if you can make some strides. I remember I was really struggling in this one. It was like a numbers class, part of the math curriculum, and it was really hard. But I remember just being like, I'm just getting away, and I'm taking this book and I'm studying this until I get it. And I got it, and it felt so great to just be like, yes, it clicked. Stay organized too. That's on here too. But I think it's all kind of wraps around there with the staying organized. I tried a lot of different things for staying organized because a lot of the traditional methods don't work for me. Like putting things on a Google Calendar doesn't work for me for some reason. I can't keep up with that. I guess what bothers me about it is I have to like open up a web page, wait for it to load, and then if I'm somewhere with no internet, I can't look at my calendar. And it was just, there was always something with all these things that were offered. So I'll show you what I did. I used a piece of software. I'm going to pull up here and show you. I actually wrote it. So what I did is I wrote my own organization software. Doing a little switching over. We're going to look at GitHub. So I got bored in one of my classes, or I was trying to schedule stuff, and one day I was just like, okay, I'm just going to write a little command line program for writing this stuff. So here we go. There it is. And I wrote this. It's called Deadline, spelled with weird numbers. And all it is just a little Linux terminal program. Build it and run it. If you have C++, it'll run. It doesn't need anything else. And you can add tasks and remove tasks, see and sort. And then there's save and quit. So all this does is anytime you get an assignment, you just hit add task, and it asks you when it's due. So that's it. And well, this is all about priority. It shows you the thing that's due the soonest. So if you just work on that, you'll be fine. So anytime you don't know what to do, you can just run this program and look at the next thing that's due. So like the top of the list, which says priority task, it's all about doing the priority task, the thing that's due next. And then you can mark it complete with remove task. So once you're done with it, you'll see the next one in the priority. And every time you get assigned something with a due date, you just hit add task. This works really well for school because things have due dates. Like if I put this stuff on a calendar, it was really hard for me to like look at the calendar. Some things were due a month later, and I would have to like, scroll from month to month or week to week and try to figure out, okay, what should I be working on? With this thing, it was like, this one's due the soonest, work on that.
Simple.
And I would do that. And then when it's finished, it would be like, okay, this one's due next, work on that. And before you know it, I'd have everything done. And then I go to my next class, get new tasks, due by whatever. Prioritization program for busy students with many assignments and deadlines. Never forget to do something again. This helped me a ton. So I don't know, maybe you'll like it. I'll leave a link down below. It's nothing super special, but it was also cool because it was like, this is a real world thing that I could find useful that I can write as like a side project, and help me advance my C++ a little bit. Because also this, I started using the Chrono library a little bit, which they didn't really teach. So if you wanted to learn it, you had to figure that out on your own, and it just keeps track of the time, and automatically manages all that. All you got to do is do this add and remove. Just add a task anytime you get one, and that's basically it. All right, well, enough about that for now, but please, if you like it, go give it a star. I would appreciate that. Or if you use it and see something broken or you don't like something about it, feel free to work on it. It's open source. You can work on it all you want. All right, part 3, getting through the day to day. I don't know if I really need to say much more about this. I kind of really already touched on that with the find a place and staying organized and using programs like deadline task priority if a traditional calendar doesn't work for you. I guess the big thing is you just do have to take it day by day, because if you try to like do everything at once, you're going to be overwhelmed. If you get if you get really unmotivated and just on one day, try to just take some small steps. I'm sure you guys have probably heard videos about stuff like this before, like the 5-minute rule or the 2-minute rule. Just do it for 2 or 5 minutes and see where it goes from there. I kind of did stuff like that, and it helped me get from day to day, because there were a lot of days where I was just like, I've been working a lot, I don't feel like it anymore. And then I would kind of I'd go take a nap, or I'd go exercise or something, and then I'd be like, all right, I'm just going to work on this thing that I know I have to do for 2 minutes. Or sometimes when I didn't want to do anything, this actually really helped me a lot, because I would just go to my little terminal and /deadline, and it would open up my little piece of software here, and I would see the thing at the top, and I was like, okay, I'll just work on that for a little bit, and before you know it, it was done. And things like that would happen. But usually, this screenshot says edit video, but often this would say something like algorithms or homework, which was incredibly hard, and it would take hours and hours to do. But as long as I kept like re-looking at it, looking at the next question, just being like, let me just get this done. And also, sometimes this day-to-day and week-to-week thing, sometimes you're going to have assignments that are due and things that need done that you don't have done, and you don't have a way of getting them done because you don't know the answer. And just try your best. It's better to have something to turn in than nothing at all. Even if you, for some reason, get a bad grade on it because maybe you didn't know how to do it very well, that's better than not turning in anything at all. And it's also better than cheating. Don't cheat, as much as you can avoid it anyway. I will admit that there were times that I went to some other students. I was like, hey, I don't know how to do this. I've been trying. Do you know how to do this? Can you show me? And sometimes they would be like, I don't feel like showing you. Here's the answer. And I'd be like, I'll write it down, but I still want to figure it out. So that happened because, sometimes just kind of knowing what you want to get to can help you figure out the steps a little bit. So things like that happened. But don't blatantly cheat. Even if you do somehow get the answer, try to figure out the steps to get to that answer. It's actually really important, because that's something later in life that's also really important too. Because when you're actually doing something, when you're actually at a job, you need to know the steps. You're going to have to train other people and stuff like that. And if you don't know how to do it, there's going to be times that you look like a fool. So it's best to just be like, hey, I want to know the steps in any case. Alright, well that's it for this video. I really hope this helps somebody. Don't forget to hit all those buttons and stuff. I'm not gonna blurb it all again, but if this helps you, consider giving back a little bit. And maybe that's just leaving a comment with your story or something like that, or just saying thanks or giving someone else some encouragement. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video. Matt from Code Tech Tutorials, over and out. Peace.